We want to bring you over to New York City. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg is speaking. This is in response to a story that we have been covering today. A prosecutor in Arizona refusing to extradite a murder suspect. Let's listen.
But rather, plain and simple, old-fashioned grandstanding and politics. I've been a prosecutor for 20 years. That should have no place in our profession. It is deeply disturbing to me that a member of my profession, a member of law enforcement, would choose to play political games in a murder case. So what I want to do is take a few moments to correct the record on a few things, to talk about the facts, the data, and the statistics, some of which are behind me. Let me start with, first, during my tenure, the last 2 years, shootings are down 24% in Manhattan. I'm sorry, shootings are down 38% in Manhattan. Homicides are down 24%. Manhattan, my county, which I'm honored to lead, our murder rate is less than half that of Phoenix, Arizona's. In 2023, they had 198 criminal homicides. Here in Manhattan, we had 73. As I'm sure you've heard our mayor say before, we are the safest big city in America, and that is true. Overall crime is down in New York City. It is down even further in Manhattan. Indeed, Manhattan is driving that decline. That is the data. Those are the facts. And these facts and statistics don't come out of thin air. They're not a coincidence. They are a byproduct of the hard work of the career public servants and prosecutors in the Manhattan DA's office, and the hardworking men and women of the New York Police Department, which is second to none in law enforcement in our country. Again, working together, for example, we prosecuted 20% more gun cases. This is the data. These are the facts. County DA Mitchell has, I don't know how else to say it, just gotten it wrong at every single term. She professes concern that a murder suspect in Manhattan would be released. I do not know what they do in Arizona, but I know that here in this county, New York County, we routinely seek and get remands, which means the person's in custody in our murder cases. Those are the facts. I heard she also was on Fox and Friends this morning saying that 4 Manhattan suspects were picked up by ICE in her county. This has demonstrably been proven to be false now for weeks. So to repeat a baseless falsehood on national TV is beyond the pale. The Department of Homeland Security, ICE, has said these were not those 4 suspects. The NYPD has said that. My office has said it publicly. Different names, different dates of birth, different fingerprints, different people. My office has indicted 7 people in the despicable and heinous attack on 2 of New York's finest. Those 7 people have appeared in New York court and are being held, as we speak, in pretrial detention. Those are the facts. Let me talk about extradition. This is a process that professional prosecutors do literally every day of the year. Red state, blue state, purple state, it does not matter. What matters are the facts and the administration of justice. So it pains me to be talking about this publicly. This is something that professional prosecutors like those in my office are handled by a phone call. And their questions like, what do your victims need? Is there an age issue? Do we need to move faster here or there? What are the statute of limitations in your case? Do you have any evidence that might spoil? Those are the questions that professional prosecutors ask. They do not go on TV and have a press conference and grandstand about the nuts and bolts process of extradition. That ignores the needs of the case. It cheapens justice, and it does not center the victims. It is inappropriate. I've been doing this now for 20 years. I have never seen anything like it, let alone in a murder investigation. So let me be clear what we do in Manhattan. In the words of my most famous predecessor, this is what we wake up and do every day. We follow the facts without fear or favor. The job is simple. I tell this to our new ADAs who start. You do the right thing, you do the right thing for the right reason, and you do the right thing in the right way. That's the job, that's the role, that's what I've done for 20 years, that's what I will continue to do. My sincere and abiding hope is that my counterpart in Arizona will start to do the same. I'll take questions.
Just, okay, at this stage of the game, is there anything that you can do?
Well, I hope, as I said in my last remarks, that reason and professionalism will take hold. The process, the next step in the process, typically, and we anticipate here, will be a hearing in Arizona where the defendant will have the opportunity to consent or not to extradition. If he consents, it's a moot issue. But what I'm hoping is that we will have regular professional conversations about the nuts and bolts administration of law. That's what we need to do. It pains me to be here talking about this. This is a phone call.
What if he doesn't consent?
Then if he does not consent, I anticipate, just like in our other extradition proceedings, then we'll have an extradition package. Interestingly enough here, this is an issue that goes from governor to governor after it's prepared. So in some ways, that underscores the political grandstanding. This is not the Maricopa County Attorney's decision, and I'm hoping that facts, law, justice, and reason will prevail.
Yeah. Doesn't the suspect have to fight the charges there first before coming here anyway?
No, then that's the matter when I talk about what professional prosecutors do. That's the phone call I'm talking about. That's the conversation. Now, we have a homicide case, so there's really nothing more important than a murder case. So I would think that should take priority, but the conversation that is supposed to take place, because there are victims in Arizona too, and that's a serious case. What's supposed to happen is, do you need to go first for some reason? Do you have a victim who has a health issue? What are the statute of limitations on assaults in Arizona? What is the evidence? And then I talk about what we need here. That's what's supposed to happen. Not at a podium, but behind a desk with books of law, with professional prosecutors talking. That's what I'm hoping my counterpart in general will get back to.
What's next for you? Do you plan on, do you plan on sending anyone there from your office to fight this extradition?
Well, what's next, as I said, is the hearing, and we'll take it from there. We'll see. I won't sort of deal in hypos. That's what's next.
Ayana?
So it sounds like you believe that your case should be prosecuted first before the Arizona case because this is a murder and their cases are not. Is that correct?
Well, look, it's a little more nuanced than that, and we've talked a lot, so you know me, right? It's driven by the facts. It's driven by the circumstances. What I know is that both cases are important. As a general matter, a murder investigation is nothing more important than that. But the conversation that's supposed to happen is the ones I've talked about. They may have a statute of limitations issue in Arizona, right? They may have an issue about a piece of evidence, that's they may be worried about someone's memory may fade. But that's the conversation. That's the granular work that professional DA's offices, that my career public servants do every single day. And again, without regard to blue state, red state, purple state, green state, this is about justice. This is about those victims. So we want to have that conversation.
And has the Maricopa County prosecutor, has she reached out to you? Have you guys had any conversations?
She had a press conference.
Julia?
Yeah, Mr. Bragg, don't you think, though, that she was making more reference to the appearance that your office lets people out without bail?
Well, we've been listening to New York District Attorney Alvin Bragg. He held a news conference to respond to an Arizona prosecutor who's refusing to extradite a murder suspect wanted in New York. Raad Almansoori is suspected of murdering a woman at a hotel in New York City. He's in custody in Arizona for allegedly stabbing two women there. And Arizona says they don't trust Bragg to handle the case. Bragg says that this is, quote, old-fashioned grandstanding, and he accused the Arizona prosecutor of playing politics in this case and saying that County DA Mitchell has gotten it wrong every single turn. The DA also says that the shootings in Manhattan are down 38% and homicides are down 24%. He also said New York City's murder rate is half that of Phoenix, Arizona.